Good afternoon, everybody. And now we'll initiate with our plenary session 4, which is on identifying the USP of ESP, compatible and equipped with multi-channel strategy. The moderator to this session is Primilesh Machama, Managing Director, Career Builder. Primilesh is currently associated with Career Builder, India as Managing Director. Holds merit for successfully developing strong business for the organization in a very short span of time. The panelists that we have in this session are Devendra Singh, Senior Business Manager, IndiaMart.com. Devendra has been associated with IndiaMart since 2003, a very strong preacher and practitioner of open source technologies. Then we have Swati Bhargava, CEO and co-founder, CashKaro.com. She is the CEO and founder of CashKaro.com, India's largest cashback and coupon site. She is currently leading the marketing team. Nitin Agarwal, Director Marketing, ShopClues. Passionate about consumer behavior and brand promotions, Nitin is an astute marketer who has built tremendous loyalty and recall for ShopClues among online shoppers. Last but not the least, we have Kumar Avnish, AVP, Strategy and Innovation, Kenskyo Digital Marketing. Avnish has over 11 years of experience in varied fields, ranging from marketing, sales, operations, and brand management. In his entire career span of a decade, he is a veteran in startup for over 6 years, gaining a lot of first-hand experiences. I request all the panelists and the moderator to kindly take the stage. And I request Mr. Primilesh to please take the mic.
Good afternoon, everyone. Session immediately after lunch is a very difficult session. And I'm not too sure the topic which has been given to us, which is USPs of ESPs. The way it was put on the agenda, it took me some time to understand it. But somehow I could manage to Google it and then understand what I'm supposed to be doing out here. To begin with, though there has been a formal introduction, I again take the opportunity of welcoming on the panel Swati, who comes from CashKaro.com. She is the CEO and founder. I welcome Devendra, who comes from IndiaMart. We were just chatting outside. He seems to be an expert on the email marketing. So we'll have a lot of insights from him on email marketing. He's basically, I suppose, a technologist. We have Nitin here, and we have Avnish. So before we get on to the panel, I just wanted to put the whole USP of ESP in the perspective for the audience, and then we can go to the panelists and understand their point of view and how they see on these things. To begin with, it is very interesting to find such a large gathering for a summit which talks about email marketing. I remember a couple of years back we used to kind of look at email marketing as generating leads. Fundamentally that remains today as well. But it has taken a very different paradigm today. But however, it was not so organized. And today finding such a large gathering for email marketing, and that also understanding there's a complete one day slot which has been put together for email marketing shows that how important it is for the businesses today. Now, when we talk about email marketing, we fundamentally talk about content, we talk about actionable points, we talk about delivery of these emails, etc. We in this session are not going to talk. We are not going to cover on the content, or we are not going to cover on the actionable points of email marketing. What we are going to cover are the service providers who make sure that these emails reach to the right audience, they are put to the right people, and we could understand what ROI we derive out of these emails sent across the users. Now, in this ecosystem of email marketing on the service provider side, we have got two distinct players. One is a mailbox owner, where we have likes of Google, Gmail, or Yahoo, or Hotmail, etc., etc. And on the other side, we have got platform owners, where, like say for example in India, we have Netcore, or we have Canisco, or we have Octane, etc., etc. So, since we don't have anybody from the mailbox owner on the panel, so we are not going to touch upon that aspect of ESPs. We will focus our discussion and our debate on the platform owner side. Platform owners are very critical. They are the vehicle of making sure that your communication or the brand communication reaches to the inbox of a mail user or an email user, and kind of they come back to us and tell us that how it has performed, what it has done for us, etc., etc. So what I have done is the platform owner business or platform owner service, I have tried to classify it into 4 distinct areas. That is what these email service providers, platform owners are supposed to be doing for a brand communication. One is that they are responsible for enabling the technology which is good enough to make sure that the communication goes in the right way, right shape, and it responds back or gives us feedback on time. So technology is one important factor which ensures what happens to our email marketing. The kind of platforms, the kind of hardware, maybe servers or the switches or whatever, the kind of softwares they employ to deliver these communications, the kind of associations they have. Devinder and I, we were just talking about, there are a couple of consortiums which have come up to make sure that spam is monitored better, properly, malware is kind of tracked properly through these email stuff which goes to inboxes. So are these conferring to these consortiums or to these trademarks, or are they kind of upgrading themselves to make sure that they don't get trapped into these algorithms or softwares or whatever is there? So first, what we are going to focus on is the technology piece. What kind of platforms these ESPs have today, and what are the challenges out there, and where is the scope for improvement? The second piece, what we are going to talk about, which is very important for every marketer who engages himself into email marketing, is the analytics of their campaigns. My understanding is that the analytics provided today by the platform owners is not as robust as it should be. They do not give you insight into the precise data parameters what an email marketer would want to kind of go through. There could be some broad level information which comes to us, that how many mails were sent, how many were delivered, how many were opened, and how many were clicked. But beyond that, if we have sent 1 million emails, out of that, if 900,000 emails have been delivered, the balance 100,000 emails which were not delivered, who were these 100,000 emails which were not delivered, and how many of them have gone to spam, and who are these mail IDs where the communication has gone to the spam? I'm just giving a small example. There could be a lot of other things which these platforms can kind of provide in terms of analytics insight for these email campaigns. So we'll talk about this point as well with our panelists. The third point, what I look very importantly from the ESP standpoint, platform owner standpoint, is the aggregation of the contact lists, the email IDs. All the ESPs do aggregate data of users. They aggregate email IDs. Now, how they aggregate that? Is that aggregation process transparent? Is that aggregation process effective? Does it lead to a specific result? The process they follow, what are the challenges out there, etc., is something which we are also going to talk about. Fourth and the last point in this series, what we are going to talk about is the consulting role or the advisory role of ESPs. I think it's very important because they are the platform owners. They understand the platform better than anyone else. They should have a very strong consultative role and come back to the email marketer and suggest and advise them that if you are doing X number of campaigns, how can you improve upon campaign to campaign? How can you get better ROI on your campaigns? So that consultative role, like it could be, what my understanding is that this role is limited to the salesperson, like the salespeople who go and meet marketers to sell their products and services. This consultative role is limited to these salespeople. They go and consult, but I don't think they are the right people or they have the right knowledge or the adequate knowledge to give correct advice to an email marketer, or it could also be the lack of analytical tools with the service provider, which does not give them enough insight into what's happening to an email campaign or what's happening to a specific brand campaign. So that's why they are not able to kind of come back and tell you that, okay, this is what our suggestion is. So these are the four broad points what I have classified for this session, where we will seek inputs from our panelists. They will give their inputs on these issues, and once we cover these 4 points one by one, what we are going to do is to make sure that after lunch you don't feel asleep. Like this session is for about 75 minutes, and to make sure that you stay awake, after every point we are going to go to the audience, ask questions specific to that point, try to answer those queries, and then at the end of it, try and see that if there are any couple of takeaways which we could enlist for the audience and for the email marketers. So I again welcome the panelists, and I take the seat and we start the discussion right here. Thank you. So to begin with, let me start with Swati. She is into a very interesting business, which is cashkaro.com, where they enable cashback and they enable the coupon encashment for various e-commerce portals. And for them, not only reaching out to customers is important, but to make them react to their communication is very important. And it's a day-to-day business for them. So let's kind of take her views on the first point, which is how, or let me put it this way, what were the trigger points which made you to think that you need a service provider to send your email communication, and what were all those things which you thought were important, or you listed down that these are the 4 or 5 things or 3 things which we need a service provider should have?
Hi everyone. Okay, it's working. Thought it's not. So we actually started off as a UK business, Pouring Pounds, and we were working with a UK-based ESP. And once we expanded it to India as cashkaro.com, we looked at ESPs in India as well. And for us, of course, the need for an ESP arose because firstly, in the initial stages of the business, we were using something like MailChimp. But obviously, you outgrow that quite fast, especially after you do a round of funding and you start growing. And I think then you want to be in a position where you are actually focusing more on the content, on the email plan, you'll only go as far as having the HTML ready. But after that, you want to give it to somebody else who can actually ensure inbox deliverability, rendering, give you good feedback, and that's where an ESP steps in. And for us, of course, the first thing was to look at, in choosing an ESP, the first thing was, of course, the technology. How scalable is it, and how how assured can we be of inbox deliverability? The second factor was trust, because as an e-com business, I'm sure all of you have also been approached by many companies who all have data to sell, and you wonder, where is this data coming from? So who is actually, so whether, I'm not saying it's the ESP, but that's where the trust of the ESP is important, because here's somebody who's going to be managing all your data, and in an e-commerce business, to acquire emails, get members, that's like, what you do most of the time. So we looked at the trust, and we work with Kensio now, and you're on the panel, so I'll be very nice to Kensio as well. But anyways, we met the owner of Kensio, and obviously that gave us comfort on, the fact that, okay, there's a trustworthy company there. And to me, the most important thing also in choosing an ESP is working with somebody who can not only ensure inbox deliverability, but actually how to improve performance. So I think increasingly ESP's role is evolving from just delivering an email to actually advising you on how to make the email perform. Because the former is almost, is like a technicality almost now. Whereas the advice and feedback that you get and ongoing engagement from your account manager and having a good account manager. So these are some of the things we looked at. I won't go into more, so you can take up the next.
Okay, it's interesting that Swati's ESP is sitting right just at the next corner, and it would be good to understand when they started talking to cashkaro.com. Did they map the requirements and needs of Cashkaro as to what they are looking at, and how does the whole process at ESP go through when you talk to a new marketer to undertake their email campaigns?
So thanks, Swati. First of all, my brand advocate is here only on the panel.
Well, the panel has only just started, so you don't know what else I'm going to say.
Yeah. So how do we typically start is wherever there is a need, of course, either you will be contacted or you will go to the market and you will ask the marketeers that you need to do certain things. Now it's completely up to the marketeers that what is their end objective in terms of choosing an email service provider, in terms as choosing an infrastructure which meets their requirement. So that's quite essential to understand first. In most of the cases we have found that the source of data is unknown. The source of data is completely unknown, and there, which in technical terms we call in email marketing opt-out database. So opt-out database or probably the vendor which you don't know, and you have source of database on your list, and then you want to send out the communications to. So that's not a good practice to work upon. So first we check Teradata as a platform. We represent Teradata here. Teradata platform is known as EC Messenger or EC Circle. So as an infrastructure, as a company, we make sure that whatever communications we are doing, we are making sure that we do it on an opt-in database. Now if it is not opt-in database and if the source is unknown, still we try to figure out that what is the response of an end user, how he is going to behave on a certain communication, whatever communication we are doing with it. So that's an integral part, that we need to understand the objective of the brand, that what is that they want to do, because in the entire communication planning phase you will find that there are a lot of triggers, there are a lot of automation which we need to do. So understanding the objective is the first thing which we do into the consideration, and then most probably that on a case-to-case basis we act upon that.
I'm not sure in the audience how many people are conversant with the structure of an ESP. So can you, Avanish, throw some light on how does an ESP internally operate? Like what all things you put together to make sure that these email campaigns go out properly?
Sure. So the couple of years back, the process was that you load and fire the campaign. So you just upload the data and send it out, let it go. Now it's completely different. So how do we typically do from operational perspective is that either the API integration happen with your set of database, or you dump the database. So with here I am talking about our ESP platform. So considering the other players in the market, they also do have this kind of mechanism, but since we are a We provide enterprise level solution infrastructure to email marketing. So we have typically different methods. So here in first we upload the database into our system through the API integration. Then we set up the instance or your domain. We do a warm-up exercise which actually makes you sure to recognize you to the end users. So that's domain setup and warm-up exercise is another thing which we do. Then we also once we go out for the communication, we try to see that what kind of database do we have. So we suppress those email IDs which falls under the spam categories, the rules set by the ISP providers. So you have that database, you suppress those IDs, and then probably after doing the list cleaning exercise, we go out. Now there are other fundamental processes also which is involved once the communication has gone out. So that probably you may want to cover it at a later stage. But this is how we begin with.
Okay, before we move to Devender, he comes from B2B category. I'll just go to Nitin and ask him that what are things you consider while kind of taking cognizance that you want to do an email marketing you want to take a decision which marketer to kind of, which platform to use. So what are things you consider as an e-com player you should be kind of considering before shortlisting an email platform?
Right. Hi everyone. So Shopclues as an organization is 2 years old, and along the process, needs of email marketing have also changed. So when we just started, it was only about inbox placement, where we can send emails in bulk and see most of them getting delivered in inbox. But I think as an organization goes and you get more specialized staff, and when you can dedicate more resources, and when that pool of customers become big, so you also want a lot of analytics on how customers are interacting with your emails, on if they're finding it relevant, what products or what category products are they clicking on, so the visits which are coming, what is the engagement level for them. So based on that, needs change, and a lot of analytics and deep dive into data is required. And that is what ultimately defines email marketing, or for that matter any other channel for a marketeer. So Shopclues, when deciding on an ESP provider, I think analytical capabilities, the technology platform, and the kind of data capabilities the platform gives, that is something which is very, very crucial and remains at the heart of a decision while going for an ASP.
So does it mean that you look for analytics as a differentiator between email marketers, or
That's correct. That's
there are
right.
any other points which you
so analytics, I would say, is a top priority.
Is a top priority. Okay. Coming to Devender, he comes from IndiaMart, which is a B2B platform, and for B2B activity as well, email marketing is emerging as a very strong tool to reach out to people. And he told me before this session that he has got empty number of years doing this stuff and trying to set the process right. And I was amazed to see that he told me that his delivery rate out of about 12 million mails which they send is monthly is about 98%. So we would really want to understand from you, Devender, as to what magic you play with your emails, which makes sure that 98% of the people actually get your mails.
Hello, I'm from IndiaMart.com. So let me tell you a little bit of a background related to this, that before managing the product and technology side, I managed the technology, and especially during the 2003-2005 years, I built a email inbox solution. And during that period, I was doing all sorts of efforts to stop every bit of spam into the email boxes. So every bit, to start from, like if an email is coming which is not having a name of the person in the to field, if the to field is having only the email address and not having the name, it means that the marketer has acquired this database from somewhere. He might have bought some CD of email addresses and not having the names, to the point that if somebody is somebody's email is addressing like dear sir. So I was giving a negative point if somebody was addressing like dear sir. How can a person be dear if you do not know his name? So things like that, I knew the bits and pieces of what and how to stop the promotional mails as much as possible. And then when I moved to managing the product, I have to make sure that my promotional mail gets delivered and it thwarts all sorts of anti-spam measures. So it's a irony. So okay, as Pramlesh was mentioning that we deliver around 12 to 15 million emails per month. So actually most of these emails are transactional mails, or I can say that almost all of them are transactional mails. The B2B platform is basically a lead generation platform wherein the suppliers are listed and the buyers visit these sites and they generate leads for these suppliers. So the buyer-supplier connecting platform. So with each buyer in trying to interact with the supplier, a lead is generated, and that lead, once it is going to the email boxes of the suppliers listed here, the supplier is of course waiting for those leads. So definitely the deliverability will be higher because the suppliers listed on this platform are waiting for it. Although we send promotional mails also, but that is very less in numbers, which goes out on the occasions of we run a sponsored program every year which is called Leaders of Tomorrow. So when we have to call out the suppliers to nominate themselves for Leaders of Tomorrow program, we send promotional mails. So in the case of promotional mails, the deliverability is lesser. But in case of these all transactional mails, the deliverability is high. But when we have to choose, Pramlesh was asking in the beginning that why don't we send these emails through our own platform? Why choose the ESP route, etc. So I'll touch upon that also. Like initially, in the initial days, we were trying to send these mails through our own infrastructure only. But then we realized that the ESPs are the specialized people. They are specialized into the particular domain. So let's go for their services. Because when you try to deliver your own your mail through your own platform, then you will have to build all such things like how to track that whose mail was delivered and whose mail got bounced. For that you will have to build technologies like, before I talk about that, when you send an email, there are multiple headers in the email. So one is from, one is to, and there is an important one which is called return path. So you'll have to make your return path, build your own return path such that when the email bounces, you know whose email bounced it, because the the format of the bounce content is not standardized throughout the world. So these ESPs have already built-in platform wherein they use the technology, use the mechanism called VERP, V-E-R-P, Variable Envelope Return Path. So all such things, when you try to do yourself, you will have to build all those technologies, whereas the ESPs are already having their own kind of expertise into this domain, and they already have all that. So that's why we went for the ESP route, and we are using ESPs only for sending all these kind of huge number of emails.
So let me put the whole thing upside down. Are you suggesting that content plays a very important role, in spite of having a good platform and a good ESP provider, contents still should be very good so that a lot of things can be controlled through that as well? As you mentioned that you're majority of your emails are transactional and they are not promotional. So does that indicate that promotional mails also should have sufficient content, like content also I indicate to dear sir or something which is without name and all that?
Oh, when I was talking about the example of dear sir or dear Amit or dear Sohan, it plays a role everywhere, because when we choose ESPs for even for promotional mails also, marketing mails also, you may like to have mailbird system wherein each of the mail is customized to in each individual, each end user. So I would like to say that each mail should be customized for the end user receiver and not a generalized mail. And the content plays an important role, but it does not mean that the content should be a whole story or big content. It should be to the point, and what you are doing, what you are trying to address, that it should address to the point, and it should have minimal content and to the point content with proper call to actions. And
okay, so let me go to the other aspect of it, which is fundamentally about the challenges which marketers face while kind of working with an ESP. Swati told us that they were doing it from London prior to kind of getting an ESP in India, and I think she also told me before this session that she have changed ESPs twice. So what were the challenges you faced while dealing with earlier ESPs, and kind of was just changing the ESP good enough to kind of circumvent those challenges, or was it something which was beyond control and you had to take a decision and change the ESP?
I think in our case, changing the ESP helped. We were earlier working with, one of the leading agencies in the UK, and the basic problem that I have with ESPs is that, a lot of the ongoing management is very reactive. So if I ask you, okay, what is my click rate performance or my subject rate performance, or we've done these activities for inactive databases, what are the performance of that? So we'll get some sort of a report, but this is not, it's not proactive that that somebody is looking at your emails and saying, okay, this is how you should improve. Why don't you try this kind of a layout, or why don't you try this kind of a subject, or your call to action is too low. And we work with over 500 brands, including everyone from Myntra, Jabong, Amazon, Yatra, Make My Trip. So there are coupon offers, plus we give additional cashback on top. So initially it's also about explaining to people how Cashkro works, how cashback works, why is all this good for you. So all that is of course part of what we do in-house. I mean, as an email marketing team, we will have that strategy. But I think in the past we felt that, the ESPs we worked with did not really lay enough emphasis on the analysis aspect of it. So it would happen ad hoc, it would happen if we request it. It's not that somebody is actually monitoring your emails, and saying that, okay, in this particular email, a large part of it actually went to spam and Yahoo, so maybe Yahoo started blocking you, or, some sort of, proactive measures. And I think now moving ESPs has helped, because we do get more of it, and I think through our experience we've also realized what we want. I don't think we are easy customers to deal with, so, and I'm not easy either. So I'm sure that it's something which has also helped us understand what the needs are. So now and some of it is working well. I mean, with Kensho actually we're quite pleased generally, because the account manager is also very hands-on. However, I think there is always more scope to be more proactive for an ESP, and I think that can actually be a winning point for an ESP with the client, because the more you are actually a part of their marketing mix and a marketing team and adding value from that perspective, then you actually become irreplaceable in some sense. Then I have more value for that ESP, whereas just getting a gun to fire emails.
So we have got one more vote for analytics part of ESP, where we had Nitin, who said that differentiator, what they look at is the ESP who can provide better analytics. And Swati also says that they came out of the European ESP because they were reactive, they were not proactive. And why they are happy with Kinesco is probably they provide them better insight into the activity and what their campaigns, how their campaigns are doing and how their work goes on. Nitin, what are your challenges? Like, what challenges you face apart from analytics, which you mentioned earlier as a differentiator? That's what you look at. But are there any other challenges which you come across so far as ESP is concerned?
Yeah, I would agree with Swati here. We are not just looking for an email service platform. We are also looking for an email marketing agency here, who can kind of support us in various initiatives, who can, really put us at the cutting edge of technology or, whatever changes are happening in this particular area. So, a lot more client support, account management is something which really helps you build on the practice, get the customers back, because this is a tremendous retention tool for Shoploose and I'm sure for other e-commerce players as well. So a lot more support there is required and insights into what you can do better about emails, how can you engage them better. So be it content, be it the way you push emails, be it the time at which you push emails, be it your segmentation logic. So all of those, all the help which can be given by an email service provider or an email marketing agency, shall I put it, is very valuable. That is what holds you in good stead. Yeah.
Okay. So that's like that's like being advisory or consultative.
Absolutely,
towards
absolutely.
the whole thing.
Because mechanics is something which you can learn over time. You also learn on your side. But I think because the industry is evolving at such a fast pace, there are developments every day, and there are new strategies. So what used to work earlier for Shoploose or for any other e-commerce player, will fit out after 2-3 months, and something new has to be done. A new way of reaching out to customers has to be devised. So that is where I think email marketing agencies play a very crucial role.
Okay. Before I move to the ESP Avnish and understand his perspective on the challenges or how they work with different clients, I just want to quickly take from Devinder as to, you mentioned that you realized you were earlier doing it by yourself, you were sending emails by yourself, but then you kind of decided that you should use an ESP because that is their core business, that is their core area, and they are the specialists in that. So what all challenges did you face when you were doing it by yourself?
Well, first of all, the first challenge is that when you are in the beginning of the business, you have the web servers, and for emails also the same web servers are doubling up for sending the emails. So the volumes, you will have challenges with the volumes. So then you will move on to making your own centralized email sending platform, wherein you can start from a single mail server to a cluster of mail servers, sending out mails from for all the transactions that is happening from the web cluster. So basically, so you will have to gather the experts who can build email infrastructure, email sending infrastructure, and then you will have to build learn all the technologies related to that, what is domain keys, what is DKIM, and what is sender policy framework, SPF, etc. And all such related technologies you will have to learn, you will have to build your own team, whereas these ESPs have already worked upon these technologies and they have expertise on that, and that way you can take the help of these expert domain rather than building it yourself. It's just like I remember long back when I was working with Nirulas as their IT head, they had their own inside marketing department, and that marketing department also printed flyers and posters which are posted in their restaurants. So they did in the beginning, but then when they had to scale, they had to go to some outside agency. Similar is the case here also. When you are in the beginning, you can do it yourself, but in that case, deliverability and open rate, etc., will be challenged. So these people can give us their own expertise, their insights, their own industry knowledge, their analytics, and all such things. When we try to build it ourselves, we'll deviate from our own core point of working. So I believe that this is all required to go for the ESPs when you are wanting to scale.
Thanks, Devendra. Avnish, when a customer comes to you, who is an existing customer and you have been servicing him or her, and they come back to you and say that we are not happy with your services, you are not providing us enough inputs, it could be any of the things. So how do you kind of handle that situation? And to what extent are you as a service provider ready to go and accommodate the needs or the challenges your customer faces and make sure that you don't lose a customer?
Okay. So here I would like to say that typically we have a retention rate of 97% of our clients. So we really didn't face at any given point in time this kind of scenario. But yes, barring those 3%, rest of the people are happy the way they have set their objective and we are meeting those objectives. Now coming back to those 3%, that what went wrong, and so there were too many people when involved in a single activity. So there are so many thought processes which are going behind that, and probably your marketing function is saying something else, the objective is something else through your ESP partner. The expectation from an ESP partner for a CEO is something else. Then at our end, our people don't understand that what is the way we should look for it, right? So what is that we need to fulfill and at what time frame? So when those objectives are not set, not predefined, then it is really difficult to make it a point. Otherwise, with all the big clients, we are pretty much successful and we are pretty much meeting their objectives.
So,
I would, yeah.
Sorry. What are the common challenges you come across your spectrum of customers? Like what are the common things they come and grouse about that this is what we are not getting from you?
Yeah. So again, I believe it's the same thing, Machma, that what they are not getting is not the scenario with us. How better we can do the advancement for them, that's the challenge for us. That what is the better way of advancement. Now I'll go back to Nitin and Swati, what they were mentioning, that the challenge is that we need to be proactive on a certain suggestions, that what is that you need to do. So for that even you do not require an ESP to tell this to most of the people, because you may do go to the Google and check all these things. Your subject line has to be of 50 characters, your email size has to not exceed more than 120 to 150 KBs. Then you should have your call to action button well placed twice or thrice in your email marketing communication. Then probably your category link, your landing page has to be there. So these all things are broadly set. Now once you start the campaign, then the real challenge starts. So it's an ongoing activity, it's not a one-time activity, I would say. So the better part is that now as an enterprise level solution, we at Kensho understand that whenever you want to plan your communication, we send it into bursts. We don't send it at one go, we just break it out. We understand that what is the it's more than a click and open ratio which we have gone through. So it's about understanding the end objective, which may be downloading a white paper, which may be the communication planning is about transacting a customer, which may be about what kind of communications they have seen. So it's not only about click, opens and all that, and what is the bounce rate. So all these things we keep into the consideration, and gradually going ahead with the journey with all our clients, We realized that, okay, if this creative is not working, let's put it some other creative. So like A/B testing of your creative, what creative works better for your communication, what didn't work, and those communications let's float in the market. So that is how typically we do, because in most of the cases this ESP is being used just to retain the customers, and it's like most of the marketeers want it's not a one-time case which they want from their love. It's rather demanding more. So that is what we have seen, and that is what gradually we do.
Thanks, Avnish. I see a lot of shoulders dropping. I see a few eyes about to close. So before people fall asleep, let's open the session briefly for some Q&A, which is if you want if you have any questions, or if you want any panelists to reply to questions around challenges you face on the ESP platforms, or if you want any suggestions from the panelists. So if there are any questions, please raise your hands. Can we have the mic out there, please?
Hi, I'm Hitesh from Value First. Just want to understand from the panel, how do you decide whether you should have one ESP or multiple ESPs? Sorry,
Can you repeat? Can you
how
be
do you
louder?
decide whether you should have one ESP or you should use multiple ESPs? What goes behind that thought process?
So Swati, you want to take this?
To be honest, in my case, we've always worked with one ESP at a time, and I think we might continue to do that, unless from a technical perspective you feel that, you know, one ESP has certain technical capabilities, or, you know, they can assure you a certain amount of inbox deliverability that the other one can't. Otherwise, I think working with one ESP is almost better, because it's also a relationship. You also want the other person to understand your business fully, because then only they can actually add value to advising you on how your campaigns can perform better. So it's hard enough to work with one. I don't know if you want to work with two. So that would be my take on it.
Okay. I can give a counter view on that. So we work with multiple ASPs, and the reason is objective. So for transaction emailers, we are simply looking for a inbox delivery. That's the criteria. Not much analytics required. But for promotional emailers, there's a lot of items in the wish list which you want to tick off. From click rate to open rates to account support, which is a much more engaged exercise, and hence you might go for ESP of a different expertise level, of a different account management level.
I agree with that actually, because we also work with other ESPs for if you want to do any data acquisition or email acquisition kind of activities, or separating transactional from promotional. So I was talking more about on an ongoing basis for your promotional campaigns. I don't think working with more than one makes sense. But if you are going to separate, like you said, then yeah, totally.
Right, agree.
We have Devendra.
Yeah, well, for any kind of vendor, my advice is to at least have two. Okay. In our case, we have multiple, and some specific kind of mails go through one ESP, some specific kind go through other ESPs. For some kind of portal it goes through one ESP, some through other ESP. And our platform is ready to send through any of the 2-3 ESPs, because whenever you take in a new ESP, you have to integrate their APIs into the system, because ours is a transactional mail. So the sending API has to be integrated. So okay. This is also important, because all of a sudden, suppose one ESP faces some kind of problem, then what? You should have a fallback. So we have fallback mechanism already built in, and which is automated, such that based on a trigger point, if one fails, the delivery will start through another ESP. So from my point of view, it is important to have multiple ESPs, or at least two. Also from another point of view, that you learn from you learn from both the ESPs which is doing what and which is doing better and which is not doing better, and you can also have better negotiation also. So my advice is to have multiple.
So, so there are 2 points coming out here. Devinder said that you should have multiple ESPs so that you can compare the ROI from two, and then you can negotiate better with the one who is not delivering you enough ROI. And on the other side, we had Nitin saying that if you have the nature of emails, if it is different, then you can kind of put it through two different ESPs. However, my question to Avanish would be, like, if we have to send one kind of email campaigns, does it make sense to use two ESPs? And as an ESP, how does he react to this suggestion that the email marketers should use different ESPs, maybe for similar campaigns?
So since we have our own ESP, we would always suggest that just go for one, and it would be better if you do Teradata. Now, what I would agree to what Devendra has mentioned, that you should evaluate, but evaluation means simultaneously with one kind of communication or with two kind of communication or whatever number of promotional emailers you do, you see the nature of the communication. Promotional mailers means what? You are targeting a different set of audience every time, so your nature of communication is always different. So in that case also, you need to put your brain in that communication planning. So here also, since there are multiple and umpteen of development which we need to do in the promotional mailers, transactional, most of the people feel that because now we have already captured all the database, the client is in, and now we have already captured the database, so probably from the next time onwards when we'll be doing upselling or cross-selling, then probably you'll use the different platform, or otherwise for this time typically just to go for 1 paise or for 0.25 paise wala platform which only delivers the communication. But as a practice, your end user is always seeing you, and your domain authority and your reputation in your entire communication matters a lot. If not to the end users, at least to the internet service providers, which are ultimately looking for you, that what kind of communication are you sending. So it's always better, and when you have chosen a service provider which does not have a good domain authority or a good domain reputation, then your brand position goes on toss. So we should avoid that. We should categorically go for one. If that doesn't work, you should go out, always look for an alternate. That's always the case.
So I believe the jury says that there's no harm in using multiple ESPs. It can be good for your email campaigns. It can be good for your ROI. Hope your question is answered.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Any other question in this segment? Yeah, we have got one more question out here. Can we have the mic, please?
Hi, I'm Indrajit. I come from the National Health Portal. This is from the social sector.
Just be a little louder.
I'm Indrajit. I come from the National Health Portal, which is from the social sector. So my question is to Avanish Kumar. Primarily, how would the email campaigning be targeted differently in the tier 3 cities than the tier 1 cities? What would be some of the tips which you would look at?
Okay, so Indrajit, thanks for asking this to me. One thing before that, before I answer to your query, I would like to know that are you talking about your own set of universe, or you are talking about the third-party emailing campaigns or something like that?
Our own.
Your own database.
Yes.
So then there is no problem, because whether the database is from tier 1 cities or tier 2 cities, now you have captured some information, and you are better aware that, okay, this guy is immune to the internet and he accesses mails. So now it's only about how will he respond to your communication. So the targeting parameters probably would not change, but yes, the communication planning might get changed because of the geo-targeting. So maybe people from Lucknow or tier 3 cities, any cities you name, or Delhi or Mumbai or Bangalore for that matter, will react in a different way to a certain communications. So the communication planning has to be different. Demography wise or the other segmentation which you do, that has nothing to do with tier 1 or tier 2 cities. I hope if I have answered your query. Thanks.
Can I further push this question and ask you, when you talk about communication in tier 2, tier 3 cities could be different,
Yeah.
Is it primarily because of the demographic profile of the audience out there, users out there, or is there any other reason for that?
No, so here I am talking about the behavior of the consumer. So Fido and Rover is the dog's name. Fido was Abraham Lincoln's pet dog, which means it is faithful. The Latin word meaning is faithful. And the Rover means it's wanderer, so like a street dog. So consumer behavior is typically like that. Either they would be wanderer or they would be loyal to you, and they would be pretty faithful to you. So in both the cases you will find that your communication has to be different. If they are a wanderer, probably they would be looking for some different kind of communications. Maybe a good value proposition, a good offer they would be looking at. So sending out a 50% sale offer to these guys probably will matter a lot. But to the set of people in the tier 1 cities, maybe a white paper download or a content driven marketing would work better.
I would like to add.
Then,
Basically, he was talking about the tier 2 city or tier 3 city. It's a kind of segmentation, profiling. So I'll share one experience. In case of India Mart, our target segment is small and medium enterprises, and mostly it is they are micro enterprises. So we were sending out emails to the buyers. In our case, when buyer submits some inquiries to the suppliers listed on our platform, after a certain period of time, we send a feedback mailer to the buyer. There is a certain period, and the buyer has to, we request his feedback, that whether his requirement was fulfilled or whether his requirement was not fulfilled. If it was fulfilled, how much of transaction did happen, what was the value, etc., etc. So there were certain call to action buttons in the email. So when the buyers respond to those emailers, we capture those responses, and later on through telecalling we try to verify those feedback also from a certain percentage, so as to check that how much of feedback was correct, and it was not a random click on any of the call to action buttons. So we found that there was certain degree of correctness in the feedback. So we thought, our teams thought, and once they put up a proposition that okay, this segment is MSME, micro enterprises. So let's on the call to action button, let's put a messaging beside to the call to action button in Hindi also. And the feedback correctness improved. So what I'm saying, that when you are targeting to the tier 2 city and tier 3 cities, think on the what kind of people, what kind of profile of people are there. So based on that, you can think on taking some action.
Yeah, for that matter, even the 12 vernacular languages is on the card. So from the panel itself, is there any feedback towards what is the response from other vernacular languages as well, other than Hindi?
I think
there. Yeah, we do have somewhere around more than 34 languages which supports the system. That means you can, through the coding, you can understand that language. So let's suppose you have to send out a communication in Germany or somewhere else, the other part of the world, then that's very much there. So as a part of the system, that's there.
I was looking at India specific. Other than Hindi, what is the response?
That we can customize. So it's just a matter of coding. You just put a code. So that is something which is related to the technical guys. You just put a code, and whatever language you are sending your communications to, your entire communication will be designed like that.
May I add? Well, trying to put in any language, it depends. Now all inbox providers in the world, Gmail, Yahoo, and all such things, such big players in the email providers, inbox providers. They all support HTML-based mails, and they all support, all have got standardized onto UTF-8. Okay, so if any email service provider is supporting UTF-8, using the UTF-8 character set, if you encode, you can write in any language and the email box will display it.
That's great input. Thanks, Devinder. So we'll move to the, from this particular section, we had 3 takeaways at this point in time from the panel, which says that the ESP first should be a proactive one. So it's not that the email marketer has to, should be always required to reach out to ESP and ask for information or ask for inputs or ask for suggestions. So ESP should be proactive so that they take it on themselves to reach out to marketer and suggest and give their inputs. Second is analytics. I think the panel has been uniform in suggesting that analytics is an important part of ESP delivery. And third is advisory. We'll take up these points individually. However, moving to analytics, now what we need, what we know is that all the platforms provide us open rates or delivery rates or click-through rates, etc., etc. But apart from those analytics, what are the things which you are fundamentally looking at? Let me go to Swati. And what would be, from your business standpoint, what other analytics would you look at which you want ESP to help you with?
I think on the analytics front, most ESPs have the technology to collect the data that we do need. So in terms of opens, clicks, where are users accessing it from, if that is possible, in terms of location, city-wise, which device, that's very easy to get now anyway. Other than that, I think maybe you can tell us what all you have.
So before we go to Avinash, Nitin, what challenges you face in analytics? Like you said, that's a differentiator which you look at when you kind of conclude on a ESP. So what all analytical definitions would you be looking at?
Right. So it's important for any marketeer to have its channel talk to each other. So because emails are also an interaction with the customer. So the way customers interact with the email. So based on that, I should be able to come up with recommendations on my website or when I'm doing SMS marketing with them. So basically that is an important piece which is slightly missing as of now. So the feedback mechanism of how customers are interacting with my emails in terms of products or category preferences or a product requirement. Because for example, if somebody is looking for a red dress on shopclose.com, I'm able to populate different options of red dress available in the size preference of the customer, in the price range on which he has been buying products. So for all of that, I have different widgets which populate those results. And I can also push those widgets into my emails. But whatever a customer has been clicking on my emails, for that information to come back to me to also feed into my web results, web recommendations, is something that would be nice. Something that is currently missing, yeah.
Okay. Avinash, how proactively do ESPs work to kind of collect more data points and then reproduce and analyze them for the customers? Like, do you constantly do ESPs constantly invest into that, or it is as and when required or as and when demanded?
So first, I would like to thank Nitin that tomorrow I'll send you the agreement because I have already solved your purpose, whatever problem you have. So what Nitin is talking about is completely integrated marketing. Right, so that is where the world is going towards. The integration, the multi-channel marketing is required. So just to give you a little insight, that we have recently launched 2 products, which is called Multi-Channel Marketing Intelligence System, MACMIS, and Real-Time Personalization. So what Multi-Channel Marketing Intelligence System exactly does the same thing what Nitin is talking about. So you can plug in or you can dump all your database across the digital functions. Not only digital functions, you can take it from your offline channel as well, like your call center people, your other activities, your on-ground activation, probably could be the good source to collect the database from. And then you dump in that system. The system is so fast that once you upload the data, it just takes a second to fetch you all sort of report, whatever you require, that what has bring you what. So nowadays everyone is talking about the insights from the, so analytical report is basically about insights, that what kind of insights have you gained, just share it with me. We just go one step ahead and we talk about actionable insights. So we convert those insights into actions, and we tell that this is what is happening across the digital channel, and hence you should do this. So in terms of, like I would like to quote you an example. So timesdeal.com, they are our client. So I would like to quote here an example on the languages part first. That is the one USP also you can call about. So on the Times deal, the problem was they used to create 250 creatives every month, because usually typically in a day they used to send some 7-8 communications, and for that every time they have to do a new creative. Now with this automated process, we made sure that okay, rest of the things will be changed, header footer we have fixed it in a place, and our content management system allows you that whatever communications you want to changes in the blocks, that you can feed it instantly almost at a real time, and that will go to all different cities. So all you need to just do is put your algorithm, set your rules, and just trigger it. So it will reach to the destination. Now yes, social media, our real-time personalization angle is another thing which is going more active and proactive in the email marketing thing. One thing is that through social media, that's the best channel. Whatever email communication you are doing, one, if you do not have a database and the person is following you on your social media platform, the very same moment you can capture that email and you can send out the communication soon. So it's a two-way communication. The best part here is that you have already opt-in database and you are permissible to make a communication with all those guys. So the social media makes a great role here in your email marketing coming forward. The appealing part of it is that in all your email communications, you can do a live streaming of a social media content and all those stuffs. So that is also very much possible. So that we can do.
Thanks, Avanish. Devinder, quickly, if you can kind of give your insights, not with loaded words.
Oh, I'm sorry. For analytics part, at least I would like to get industry benchmarking as a marketeer, like if I'm into a particular segment. So what is the kind of delivery rate in general for this kind of industry? If they can give this kind of insight, that will be a very good thing for me in the analytics front. Similarly, in the analytics front, if I am delivering some emails to thousands and thousands of people, and this ESP is already delivering mails for many other people. So some of the email which is in my database, to whom I am trying to deliver, to the same email address, some other publisher is also trying to submit. So I would like to get an insight that, okay, my mail was not opened, but somebody else's mail, some other publisher's mail was opened. So if those kinds of insights if we get, that will help us a lot. Coming on the front of delivery, I would like to do a delivery instant check also, that which all out of, say if I send thousands of mails, which all email got delivered and which does not get delivered. I want to check instantly, not in the offline mode. That still I miss. So these all things I would love to see.
Okay, we have got the indication that we need to end it here. I would have loved to touch upon the next point, which is aggregation, because that is something which most of the marketers do face a challenge in, because aggregation of data, which is email IDs or contact details of users by ESPs, is a very, very opaque system. There is very little you can see into that where these tie-ups are and how these data aggregation happens at the ESP side. But we will have to keep it for some other time. Thank you very much, the panel, Swati, Devendra, Nitin, and Avanish. And I hope that you had an insightful session, and there have been some takeaways from this session, and will help you to get better ROI, or at least selecting your ESP would be an easier task from now onwards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks to all the panelists.